Hello. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this Xero demo that is being hosted by us at Riverview Portfolio. My name is Izzy, and I'm also being joined by Sophie in the chat box in our Q&A, who is going to be answering any questions that you may submit to us as well. I will be keeping an eye on it, but probably not as watchful as I'm doing the demo, so Sophie will be trying to help. But I will also try and attempt to answer any questions towards the end of the demo as well. So yeah, if you guys could all kind of send a little hello or something in the Q&A, just so that I know that you guys can hear me and know that Sophie can see your messages as well, that would be great. Hi, Craig and Celsi, thanks for coming. Hi, Jade. Hi, Diane. Hey, great. That's great to see. All right, brilliant. Let's get started. All right, brilliant. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Xero, and this is going to be a very kind of basic introduction. You may have seen on our social media and stuff that we do talk a lot about accounting softwares. Xero is one of them that we've partnered with. But we kind of go off on sort of like tips and other softwares that integrate with it. But I want to take this opportunity to actually talk about what is Xero. So if there are people watching this that don't know what it is, or maybe you are just getting started with it and getting introduced to it, hopefully you can learn a little bit more about it and see some of the key features that we are going to be talking about today. And of course, as well, we've got a little bit of a giveaway as well at the end. So we've got some Xero goodies that we can give out to some attendees that make it to the end of the webinar. Okay, so the bare bones of what Xero is that it's a tool that you can use to keep your financial records. This is a requirement of all businesses to be compliant with HMRC and any other governing bodies. But what Xero then does is it takes that financial data that you've got and it allows you to do more with it. So on the screen now, you'll see that there are some key features on there that Xero can do that goes that one step beyond just recording your financial data to be compliant. We're not going to be going over all of these features today. I don't have the time to do that. But I will be going over the main key ones that all businesses will need to be monitoring and how Xero can help with that. So one thing that Xero helps with to help you with your business is it helps keep track of your customer debts. So you can use Xero to create and send sales invoices directly to your customers. And by doing that, you are able to keep track of who you owe money to, who owes you money and what they owe, when they owe it. You can also set up automatic invoice reminders as well to make customers know that their payment dates are coming up. And if unfortunately they miss a payment, then Xero can also automatically chase those customers for you as well to try and get those payments in for you. The invoices are quite professional looking, especially if you add payment links onto the sales invoices. So a payment link is the ability to add a little pay now link on the invoice that your customer can click, and then they can pay you through credit cards, debit cards, PayPal, transfers, all those kind of things. We talk a lot about payment links in October on our social media, so you can have a look at that in more detail, but they're pretty professional looking, so it's good for a customer to receive from you, from your business. You're also able to manage the people that you owe money to, your suppliers. So when you make your purchases, you need to know who you owe money to, what you owe them for. Also when you need to pay that. I stress the when, because being able to know when you need to pay certain suppliers by and how much that is a really good benefit in making sure that you are cash flow healthy. So this is a really good, important thing to keep track of. You can go one step further with that within Xero as well, as you can actually pay your suppliers from within Xero itself. You don't just have to use it as a management tool. And I can show you that in more detail when we get into the software itself. And of course, I think this is going to be one of the main ones, which is gaining a clearer view of your business performance. You know, it's you can put things into a spreadsheet, but there's not much use you can get from that financial data when it's in a spreadsheet like that. What you need to be able to run your business is being able to view reports. So if you have those questions like how much profit am I making? How did that compare to my previous month or my previous year? How much should I be budgeting for certain expenses? How is my actual spending compared to what I budgeted to spend? How much should I be saving for my tax liabilities? How much inventory am I holding? These are all important questions that business owners will be consistently asking themselves, and Xero will help you answer those questions and then help you plan for the future to make sure you've got a healthy business. And yeah, saving time. So you're going to see in this demo that Xero does have a lot of automation features in it to try and help reduce that manual entry time to a minimal. And you created your business not to be sat down doing your finances. You created your business because you want to run your business. So if you're spending less time recording your finances and trying to get some information from that finances, then you've got more time to run your business. So a term you may have heard of is cloud accounting. So Xero is a cloud accounting software. What this means is that it's on the internet, basically. And this means that it's accessible anywhere that's got an internet connection. So that's one big thing for Xero being on the cloud. With it being on the cloud as well, is you can get collaborators to access your account. Again, they can access it anywhere with an internet connection. So the people that you would want access onto your Xero account would be your bookkeeper or your accountant, or maybe you've got someone in your admin offices that you want to help you out with sending sales invoices, but you don't particularly want them to see your bank balances and see your bank payments and stuff. So you can give them a limited access into Xero so that they can help you with creating sales invoices, purchase invoices, whatever it may be, but at a restricted view. So they're not looking through your reports. And it's all real time as well. So if you are updating your Xero from one computer, then that means your accountant can see that information in live time. So if you have any questions about your business, about your finances, and you need to ask your accountant, your bookkeeper a question about it, then they can access the same information that you are looking at to be able to help you and advise you further. Of course, the biggest thing about it being on the cloud, which is something that we are talking a lot about recently, is the fact that it is MTD compatible. So MTD, Making Tax Digital, it's this new thing that HMRC have got going on to try and digitize the way that we are doing our taxes. VAT registered businesses are already having to comply with Making Tax Digital, which means that they are having to keep their records digitally and submit their VAT returns via an MTD compatible software. But this is going to be expanding. So in April 24, self-employed businesses and landlords that have a turnover above £10,000 will also be required to comply by Making Tax Digital rules. So when you are on Xero, then you will already have that foot in the door ready to be on a compliant software. And that is going to expand even further as well. So those of you that are liable to corporation tax, you will expect some sort of compliancy rules to attend to you for Making Tax Digital some point after 2026. All right, let's actually have a look at the software, shall we? Okay. I move my face from the corner of the screen there. All right, so hopefully you guys can all see Xero in front of me at the moment. It's When you log in, the first thing that you are greeted with is the dashboard. So this is a really good quick snapshot of what is going on in your business at the moment. So you've got quite a visual demographic of what's going on in your bank. You've got a good layout of what's going on with what money is owed to you and also what money you may owe out. A little bit of a cash in and out graph as well. So this is all just a really good kind of quick snapshot and also quick links to be able to access certain information. So if I click on any of these links, it will show me exactly where this information has come from and give me the ability to then act further on it. So what I'm going to do from this dashboard is I'm going to first go into reconcile my bank. So this is part of the bookkeeping process. So this is about telling Xero exactly what payments you are making and payments you are receiving. So the white boxes that are on the left here is all from your bank. So these are fed directly into Xero automatically. Depending on the bank provider that you're with, they tend to refresh every night, some point around midnight. Some of them refresh hourly. So as soon as you make a payment, you will see that payment come through into Xero on your bank feed on the left here. And then the boxes on the right this is your tool then to tell Xero this is what that payment is for. So the ones that are highlighted in green are the easiest to be able to match off because Xero is recognizing you have an outstanding sales invoice that matches the amount that you have been paid into your bank. So this is a really, really quick, easy way for me to be able to say, yeah, they go together, that sales invoice was paid. Same again for these two. So these ones are lit up in green, but these are payments to suppliers. And Xero is picking up for me that it can see some outstanding invoices that are owed to these suppliers for me to easily match off. We did a HubDoc demo a few weeks ago where we talk about getting supplier invoices into Xero. Really easy process. You just email your invoices into HubDoc or take pictures of your receipts, and then HubDoc will extract that information for you and put it into Xero. I would recommend having a look at that video on our YouTube channel if you haven't already. These ones that are in solid white are called bank rules. So these are presets so that every time my bank statement gives a certain amount of detail or it's a certain amount, then it's automatically going to code that transaction to a certain expense category. So this is another way to automate your manual bookkeeping time. So you can just hit OK on those. If you haven't got any supplier invoices or sales invoices that relate to a payment, then you just simply fill out the fields on the right here to say what the payment is. So I've got a payment here that's gone to Cooper Street Bakery, so I'm going to type that in. This is going to be some subsistence of some kind, so I'm going to put that into my travel account. And then you can hit OK, and then that reconciles off. Now I've just typed that information in. I can see that I've got another payment going to Cooper Street Bakery here. But you'll see that if I refresh the page, then Xero will remember the information that I've previously typed in and re-enter it in again for me. So it's that AI working in the background, trying to make my life easier and help me from doing any kind of manual entry. So you can see that that's been exampled again here with a bank fee that I've paid and also with some parking fees. So the process of reconciling my payments against bank rules and against typed in information and against my invoices is a really, really quick and easy process. So now that I've reconciled my bank, I'm going to go have a look at my outstanding sales invoices. So let's have a look at what my sales are saying in the sales overview. So in the sales overview, you get a really nice kind of visual representation of what is owed to you and who it's owed by. So you've got a nice little graph here that says the money that you're expecting to come in. That will be set from the due dates that are created when you are creating sales invoices. Also a bit more of a detailed breakdown here as well, if you wish to see that. But my biggest thing that's catching my eye right now is that I've got 5 overdue invoices. So my customers have not paid on time. So I'm going to click into that and have a look at what's going on there. So I've got a few customers that owe me some money. So I'm going to email them to ask them to pay their outstanding invoices. So use the little check boxes on the left here to select the invoices that I want to chase up. But you'll notice that this invoice actually has an expected payment date that's been entered into it. So I'm just going to open up that invoice in a new tab and have a look at what is going on there. So here's the invoice that I'm investigating. Underneath the invoice, if I expand the notes, then I can have a look at what's going on. And I can see that there was a little note added here to say that cash has been received already. It's just going to be dropped into our cash box on the 16th. So that is why it's got an expected payment date on it, but not been marked as paid. So I'm not going to need to chase that one for payment. I'm going to untick that one. It also explains why this one hasn't been sent. So this is another good representation to see, have you already sent these invoices to your customers? I'm going to hit email. And you'll see that all of the email addresses are automatically entered in for me. So I don't need to dig out an address book and try and find the people that I need to email. That's all pre-entered. And there is a little pre-entered email template in here as well. The template that's in here is the template that I normally use when I send my invoice out to my customers for the first time. But because these customers haven't paid their invoices and they're now overdue, the tone of my email is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to change my invoice template from being the basic one to my overdue payment reminder. I'll tick to include a PDF attachment for the customer, hit send, and then those chaser emails will go out to my customers. And just like we saw before, if I open up a sales invoice and then have a look at the notes underneath the sales invoice, it gives me a good audit trail to see when I have sent my invoices to them. And it also gives you a little nudge as well to say that the customer has opened it and viewed it as well. So that's a really, really interesting bit of information to be able to see about your sales invoices. Okay, now that I'm done with my sales invoices, I'm going to have a look at my purchases. So these are suppliers that I owe money to. Let's have a look in my bills to pay and see which suppliers I owe money to. So I'm going to order it by due date because I want to make a payment today. I'm going to make a BACS transfer payment today to some of my suppliers. So ordering it by due date allows me to see who I owe money to. I've got a few that are outstanding for payment, so I'm going to tick into these ones. Again, I can see one has got a planned payment date on there. So I might unselect that because there might be a standing order or something that's planned to go out for that one. And just tick the rest. Now, I know the next time that I'm going to be making a payment run probably isn't going to be until the 17th. So I'm also going to pay these two, even though it's not their due date. I know that they're not going to be paid on time if I don't pay them now. Once I've selected the invoices I want to pay, I'm going to click batch payment. And then it's going to give me a little breakdown of everything that I'm going to be paying out. So I'm going to be paying this today. I'm going to be paying it from my business bank account, BACS transfer, and then the date. Now, looking at the detail that I've got down here in terms of the payments that I'm making, I can see that there isn't any bank account information for Smart Agency. So this means that I haven't already updated Xero to say these are their bank details and this is the reference I want to use. Now, if I had the information to hand in front of me, then I can come in and just type in the figures ready for the payment. But as it is, I actually don't have the information on me. So I'm just going to hit the X to remove that one. Central Copiers also doesn't have the bank reference detail in there that I need. There are certain suppliers that won't give you that kind of reference. So I'll leave that blank because Xero will give me the invoice number instead that I can use as my payment reference. All right, when you hit make payments, this is a really useful tool that you can use if you have the setting on your online banking already. So there is this option for export batch file, which you can export via a CSV. And if you've got that setting turned on with your bank provider, then you can take that CSV and then upload it into your bank, and then the payments can be made. So you don't have to do that one process of loading up each payment and paying each supplier, and it can be a bit of a timely process. So being able to just import that information directly into your bank could be a huge time saver. Or if you're a bit untrusting of that and you're a bit more old school, then they do have this little PDF export that you can download. So I'll just open that up so you can have a look what that looks like. It gives you the detail of who you're paying, the reference that you'll want to use, and also their bank account details. So that's a really good reference for you to use when you are manually making those payments on your bank account. You've got the send remittance option available. So if I click on that, you'll see that the pop-up looks very similar to what I had sent out before regarding my sales invoices. So again, the email addresses of my suppliers are already preloaded into there. It looks like Power Direct doesn't have an email address in there, so I'm just going to untick that one and not send those the remittance to those guys. Maybe they don't require it. And then I've got my email template as well going in there, so I can just hit send and send those remittances out. If you go with the add-on Pay with Wise, then you can take this a step further and actually make those payments from within Xero. So you can do all of that within one software. So that's something that you can consider doing as well. If that is something that's set up, then you just get an extra payment link there to say Pay with Wise, and you click on that and then follow the steps from there. Okay, let's have a look at the reports then. So the reports is one of the important things to be able to see that your business is performing well. There is a huge amount of reports that you've got here provided by Xero, and we would need a whole webinar session on our own for me to be able to go through all of them. So for this demo, I've just picked out my 3 favorite, the ones that I think are most important to business owners. So let's first look at my profit and loss report. So the profit and loss report is an important report to be able to see where you are spending your money and how you are earning your money as well, and the different categories in which you are spending it to make sure that you're healthy. There's loads of filter tools in this to be able to see this in more detail. So for example, at the moment, it's just showing my financial year, but I want to have a look at my last quarter. And I'm going to do that as a monthly breakdown so I can see over time how my different expenses are. This is a really big, important analysis tool that you need to be able to use to be able to see if you are spending the money that you should be spending. I mean, for example, I can see that in November, my advertising and marketing costs is a lot higher than I've experienced in previous months. So you can actually click on that blue figure there just to give you a little bit more of a detailed breakdown to show you what exactly it is that I spent in that month. For our property-based businesses that are watching this video, a really popular report that I see you guys using on Xero is this Compare Property report. This is a really good one if you want to see how multiple properties in your portfolio are performing and how they are performing against each other as well. So you can see here that the profit and loss, the layout of it is the same in terms of being able to see where you are spending money and where you are earning money, but it has separated out the individual cost items into the different properties. So I can see how different properties are performing over each other. You will have some expenses that aren't assigned to certain properties. So if you're buying stationery, that doesn't necessarily mean you're buying it for one property. So we do also have this unassigned columns for all of those kind of general expenses as well. So this is a really popular report for the property-based businesses. You can filter your profit and loss report as well for just one property. So for example, I'm looking at this and I can see that East Side flat isn't performing as well as my others. So I might go back to my profit and loss report and have a look at the East Side profit and loss report over a period of time. So let's filter that to East Side. Let's have a look at last month and compare it with 2 months. So now I can see over time what's been going on with that particular property and see why that one is underperforming compared to some other properties that I've got. These reports as well can be published onto Xero or exported so that you can share them with your business partners, with your accountant, anything like that. You'll notice as I've been waving my mouse around that they have these little annotation note options. So if you click on there, you can add some notes for other partners to see. As such, if you export this into a PDF or into an Excel, then the notes that you have provided will be shown at the bottom of the report with a little reference number on there. Or if you publish this on Xero to be accessed, then people will access them as you can see it now. There's also an edit layout button in the bottom left here, and this gives a whole load of customization options. You can add calculations down the side or down the bottom. You can reorder your accounts. There's a lot you can do with this customization, and again, I think I would need a whole new webinar sort of talking about the different things that you can do in there. But if there's something you want a report to show or to look like, then chances are Xero is going to be able to do that for you, and you can reach out to us to help you get that perfect report as well. Because once we've set that customized report for you, so it's looking exactly like you want it, you can save it as a custom report. So then you can access that whenever you want. So moving on from the profit and loss report, I'm going to have a look at my budget variance report now. So rather than going into the reports menu like I did before to access the profit and loss menu, I'm going to access it from my drop-down menu budget variance. That's because I did start as a favorite report. So it's the little things that speed things up for us. So the budget variance report allows you to have a look at what you budgeted to earn, what you budgeted to spend, and then compare it to what you actually earned and what you actually spent. And this is a really good indicator for you to be able to see where you are under or overperforming in your business. So looking at this one, I'm having a look at December. So these numbers in black is what I had budgeted to spend in December. There is a budget manager feature in Xero to help you create those budgets, so you can have a look at previous months to see how you've achieved in those previous months to help you set those budgets for your future months, years. You can also set multiple different budgets as well. So again, going back to our property example, you may have a certain budget for one property compared to another. So that's an option to you as well. But this is just my general overall budget that I have sent for my business. And then these blue figures on the left is the actual spending or the actual income. So again, you'll notice that these links are in blue so that you can click on it and get that full transactional detail if you want to see it. And then these figures on the right is the variance. So have you overspent, or have you over-earned, or have you underspent? So looking at this, I can see that my biggest contributors into the difference of my profits for this month is definitely going to be my advertising and marketing. I haven't spent nearly as much as I thought I was going to. And I've also earned more in December for my sales as well. Christmas peak season, I guess. So that's all looking well. And then on the right hand here, it's more of an overall budget for the financial year so far. So while this is looking at a very specific period in time, this is going to be looking at your year so far. This is more useful to you if you wanted to have a little look at how much do I have left to spend, maybe. And again, this has that same annotation marks that we had in the profit loss. It has the same edit layout. So if there's some sort of thing you want to be able to look at on your budget report, there probably is a way that we can customize it to do that for you. All right, and then the final report that I want to show you is the short-term cash flow that's on Xero. So this is relatively new, actually. So this is quite good. It can go up to 30 days in the future to give you a little insight into what your cash flow is. So this is quite a comforting thing to be able to know if you are planning on making any big purchases, maybe. So for me, if I wanted to buy like a van for my business, I'd probably say now is not the good time for it, but maybe early January. It looks like I'm going to be cash healthy to be able to do that. If you scroll down as well, you'll also be able to get a bit of a projected outlook of exactly what money you are making or earning in a certain time period. You can make this more accurate by adding expected payment dates, as you saw earlier that I was using on the invoices management and the bills management that I was on earlier. So you can make that more accurate. Xero also gives you a little nudge in that direction as well by giving you some suggested actions to try and make that cash flow as accurate for you as possible to help you make those financial decisions. Okay, all right, so that's the bulk of the demo for you. So I'm going to take some time now to answer any questions that have come in. I know that Sophie has been in the background answering some questions for me, so thank you for that, Soph. We did also have a few questions emailed in as well that I would like to answer. So one of them was about cash payments. So as you saw, I was doing most of my reconciliation from my business bank account, and people have rightly asked, well, what if I take my payments by cash? What if I pay my suppliers by cash? And Xero can absolutely is capable of doing that for you. So the way that we do this is through what we call a dummy bank account. So we create a bank account in Xero that's just called a cash account. Maybe similar names that you may be referencing would be like a petty cash account, or maybe you've got a till, something along that lines. And then you can record transactions into your cash account. So you can see that I've recorded some things here where I've got the director putting some money into my cash box. I've made a payment of fuel. I've given a tip to our security guard. I've received a tip from a customer. The director's also just pocketed some cash from that tin. Now, this balance is all being tracked along the side here as well. So if you do have a petty cash tin that you want to be monitoring who is taking money out of that and for what reason, then you can count out the money that's in your petty cash tin, check it to the balance that's on your Xero account, and then you know that no staff is taking extra money than they need to, or you're not missing any receipts to potentially be losing out on the chance of claiming any expenses. One of the examples that we looked at earlier for Port and Phillip, I said that this was going to be paid in cash, which is why I didn't chase them for payment. So for this sales invoice, what I would do if I wanted to pay it by cash is I would use this receive a payment section underneath the invoice, type in when it's going to be paid. So I believe in the notes we were getting paid on the 16th. And in the paid to drop down, rather than using your bank account, I'm going to use the cash account. And then you can put in a little reference. Okay, so that invoice has now been paid. I'll refresh my cash account, and then you can see that the payment is now showing in my balance. So I hope that answers the question. Diane Spears asked, what does subsistence mean? So subsistence is when you are traveling for business reasons, and if you are traveling to go get some business training or something like that, and you have to stop and buy yourself a sandwich or a drink or something like that, then you can claim for that business expense. So that is subsistence. In the example here, I did put it into a travel account, although I would recommend that you manipulate the chart of account settings that Xero standardly give you to add a subsistence account code. Here at Riverview, I've actually got my own standard chart of accounts that I can import into your Xero account for you, which gives you a much more detailed breakdown of the type of expenses that you may incur compared to what Xero already give you. So if you are considering setting up a Xero, then do get in touch and we can kind of kickstart that for you. Cool. Yeah, so Leanne has asked about expense categories, but I think I've just answered that regarding chart of accounts. We've got a question about how to set up the different properties. So that's referencing the profit and loss report that I created. If you go into accounting from the top toolbar and then go into advanced, within the financial settings, you'll find tracking categories down here. And then you can see that I've set a tracking category that's called property, and then I've listed out all of my properties beneath it. This is the example that I've used because I know that a lot of our clients are property based, but you can have other examples in there. So maybe there are certain regions of your business that you want to be able to track, certain shops. So it's just that kind of second level of categorization to give you more in-depth analysis if you needed it. Okay, we've got a question about the email templates. So that's the templates that are sent when you are sending your remittances out or you are sending your invoices out. If you just click on your company name at the top left of the screen and then go into settings, then these three settings are the main ones that are going to be relevant to your sales invoices. So this invoice settings is where you go to set the layout of your invoice, so what your logo is when you put it on there, what's the wording that's going to be on the invoice, what are your bank details, etc. The payment services is where you set up for that payment link to go out with your sales invoices. So that's the pay now link that your customers can click to be able to pay you instantly. And then the email settings is where you go in to be able to set the default emails to go with your invoices. So I've just come into the email settings, expand the templates, and then you can see that there are some templates in there. When you create your new Xero account, you will already be given some basic templates that you can start using straight away. But if you come in here, you can start editing it as you please. And do notice that it's got placeholders here as well. So these are what is written in the brackets. So you can see it says hi contact name, but maybe I want to add the last name as well. So I'll do insert placeholder and I'll put contact last name. Restrictions on tracking categories. You can have 99 tracking categories per item, but you can have up to, or you're testing me now, I believe it was 50 different tracking options. So in the, if I come into the tracking categories here, you can see that I've got one tracking category called property. I could have up to 50 of those. And then within the tracking category options, I can have up to 99. That may be different. That is testing my knowledge a little bit, but I'm like 80% sure on that one. We got some questions about the CIS feature on Xero as well. So that's a cracking question, one that isn't well known about actually. So if you come into the accounting toolbar, accounting from the top toolbar and into the advanced settings, and then into financial settings, you'll see that there is a little option for you to be able to turn on your CIS settings. So here we've got, you can tick that you are a registered contractor or that you are a registered subcontractor. By ticking those items, you're going to be able to unlock all of the reports that you need to be able to submit your CIS returns. You will not be able to actually submit to HMRC from within Xero without buying the add-on, but you can generate the reports that are needed. So you can get those statement reports for your subcontractors and things like that. It also automatically calculates the CIS that's being deducted from invoices as well. So I know that can be a lot easier when there's all these sort of specific rules about what VAT code that you need to be using and only charging CIS on labour and things like that. So that's quite a useful feature. So come into here if you want to be able to turn that on. Tracking categories are available on the starter plan, absolutely. So Xero does have different subscription levels, and I would recommend that you would probably speak to somebody here at Riverview to have a bit of a consultation where we can get an idea of what the activity of your business is, and then we can recommend which level is going to be the best one for you. The starter plan can be really good for like small businesses just starting out, but the only downfall on the starter plan is that you're only able to enter 5 bills. And if you are trying to use HubDoc with Xero, which allows you to electronically do your paper filing and allow Xero to pull off the information from your paper reports for you rather than you having to manually type them in, then that starter plan is not going to be as useful to you. So that's one consideration to make before setting up on there. Just trying to see if I've missed any here. We've got some good questions here. Okay, we've got a question about getting voluntary VAT registered and backdating the VAT claimed on certain invoices. I would recommend that you actually speak to one of us directly about that, because that can be a bit of a fiddly. The first VAT return that's submitted on Xero can be a little bit fiddly because the VAT return won't automatically calculate for you any backdated VAT transactions. Going forward, Xero will automatically do that for you, but for the first VAT return that you do, if you're trying to backdate VAT transactions, it's a bit more of a manual process. So I'd recommend you speak directly to somebody here at Riverview and they can help you out with that. So you can get in touch with me, which is my name, Izzy, at Riverview Portfolio, or if you have a bookkeeper here or something like that, then you can get in touch with them. Okay, all right, give me a nudge if I've missed your question. I think I've managed to get through them all, so that we can start doing the giveaway, which is pretty exciting. So I've been told that I can give out 2 goodie bags filled with Xero goodies. So if I just get open our attendees list and choose some people from random. Okay, all right, congratulations to Diane Spears. You're going to be getting a Xero goodie bag, and also to Chris Chapman as well. So I will let Jade know, who's got our goodie bags, to send you out some good things. Okay, hi, I've got another question as well from Craig, who says that you're handling payments on behalf of landlords. Yeah, okay, so Yes, so similar to like what I showed on the cash account, you can have a dummy bank account created to be able to manage the money that you are receiving on behalf of landlords, and then paying back out to them, and then also the fees that you are deducting from that for yourself. So that's your sales. You can use that dummy bank account to help you out with that, absolutely. If you have more than 2 properties, though, I would recommend that you get a property management app which integrates with Xero, because that's going to be a lot more in depth for your needs. Because, you know, as you get more properties, it's going to be a little bit harder to manage that. We did actually talk about property management apps a few months ago. I can't remember which month it was that we posted about that on our social media. But if you go onto our YouTube channel, we've created a property management apps video where we've compared some of the best ones that we've found, and also which one would be best for your business portfolio based on if you're limited or if you're not unlimited, or if you're only got a few properties, or if you're in serviced accommodation. You know, we kind of like analyze all of that out to help recommend the best property management app for you. And we also discuss in there which accounting softwares they integrate with as well. So hopefully you'll be able to find some use out of that. Okay, cool. All right, I think I'll probably wrap up for now. If for some reason I have missed your question, then just send me an email. I'm on izzy@riverviewportfolio.co.uk. And then I will answer all of your questions. If you're interested in getting started with Xero, like I said, get in touch with us and we can have that consultancy with you to see if which kind of subscription level would be best suited for your business activity. I hope you guys found it all useful. And if you have any other suggestions of any kind of webinars or videos you would like me to create that can help you with Xero, then please let me know, because we want to be able to create content that's useful to you. All right, and thanks again to Sophie as well for helping me out in the Q&A and answering some questions for me while I was running through the demo. Cheers, guys. Bye.